Right. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the talk as part of the Total Hi-Fi Experience. I am here with Robin Wyatt of Robyatt Audio, and I am so excited for tonight. I scanned over his website a little bit, and I saw some things in there that were right up my alley. And so I'm looking forward to getting to talk with him and getting to know him and introducing him and his company to you all as well. Welcome, Robin. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us tonight.
Evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. I love
Good.
your accent, by the way. The British accent's one of my favorites,
British
besides the
mate.
Indian.
Yeah.
I love it.
I can do Indian too.
Oh yeah, I have a good friend. My good friend Mops. He has the best accent in the world because he's from South Africa by way of India, and so he has a very laid back
Oh
Indian
yeah,
accent, and I
that's
love
an
it.
accent. Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about. I want to. I like to ask a little more personal questions to kind of get into like um, how you came to start Robyatt Audio, and I want to make sure that we connect with you that way. So, how did you get into hi-fi audio in the first place? What really connected you? Was it
Let's
music?
start at the beginning. I got into it because my father was an audiophile. From my first rememberings as a kid, he always had a stereo system. Um, Yeah, the first house I remember growing up in, he had Cambridge Audio when it was like a kit system, and he had a Pioneer PL, um, no 519, I think it was, with the touch buttons. So he's always was an audiophile. So I loved that being an only child, and I love music of all kinds. I can't play a damn thing, but I love, people ask what my musical tastes are, and I say Pavarotti to Eminem. Um,
Okay, nice.
but as a young
I'm
man,
much the same.
there you go. Yeah, right. Eclectic's better. Um,
Yeah.
so from a young man, I used to go with my father to the audio shows out by Heathrow Airport when they were on every year, and I loved it. And I was far more technically orientated than my father, so I would set up his systems for him, wire them, set up the turntable and everything from a young age. And I played with everything. And I started off with a suitcase Sanyo system, and then I moved to a little Sony separate system, which I still have to this day, the old TA88 amp and ST88 tuner. Um, I had early audio research LST speakers. And then one day I heard quad 57s in a local hi-fi shop that my father would go to regularly. And that was the beginning of a lifelong journey. And along the way, I played with Lowthers and low powered amps. And so always an audiophile, loved all kinds of music. First album I ever got, my parents bought me was Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player, Elton John. And then the first album I bought myself, which I still own to this day and play, is Journey to the Center of the Earth, Rick Wakeman.
Nice.
Um, and then, I grew up with friends loving Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin, and my musical taste lent more towards Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and George Benson and Teddy Pendergrass. And I used to go and see a tremendous amount of shows as a young man. Um, and then I started in the City of London as a broker, money broker, and that was a very lucrative career, and it funded my obsession with audio over the many years. Um, so I came to America in '83 because of a young lady I spoke to every day, and I never went home. I married her, and I have an American daughter that says, "Let's take the dog for a walk." What is a dog?
Dork.
Um,
I love it.
yeah. So I play with audio. As I said, I'm working on Wall Street. I could afford to try all kinds of different things, and I did. If something interested me, I would buy it, try it, sell it, hopefully at a profit, sometimes flat. And even if I lost money on it, I took it as being a rental fee. but I bought and played with a ridiculous amount of audio gear. Um, and then in the early 2000s, or actually late 90s, I bought a home in Pennsylvania where I'm talking to you from now. And one day I went into Radio Shack, and the gentleman there said, "Oh, there's a high-end audio company out here called Rogue Audio." So I looked them up. I contacted Mark O'Brien, who is a good friend of mine now. And he came over in his little car and bought his first amp, and we compared it to a Macintosh 275 I owned at the time. And the Rogue was instantly superior to me. And I've owned Rogue equipment for a long time of every type and shape. I'm still good friends with Mark O'Brien, and in fact, I'm going to be showing with Rogue Audio at the show this weekend.
Awesome. I'm looking
On
forward
a
to that.
pair of
I've actually only heard a couple of Rogue Audio's items, and I'm trying to remember what systems that they were in. It's been a while. It was pretty
Mark's
early
a
on.
very, very brilliant engineer, and everything he designs is himself. And he makes great equipment that's relatively affordable in this ridiculous day of highly expensive gear, which I don't understand, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's a story for another day. So back when I first met Mark, I tried some Italian-made single-ended triode gear from Tectron Italia, and Mark
Mhm.
said to me, "You should import that and start your own company." So I did, and that was the beginning. And I was on eBay, and my name on eBay was a combination of my first and last name, Robin Wyatt, and my sign-in on eBay was Robyatt. So I called my company Robyatt Audio. Didn't think anything of it. Maybe now looking back, I probably should have done something a little more audio related, but there it is. So I started importing Tectron Italia for many years, and then it led me into other different equipment. And I was asked to import different brands for different people. But if I didn't believe in it, I didn't want to be involved. If I didn't love it, I didn't want to be involved. I'm very much, I can sell anything that I believe in and I like. And so now I became somewhat of an imported distributor for brands like Tectron Italia, brands like D&M Design in the UK. Early on, I bought and tried a Miyajima Labs phono cartridge he was selling on AudioGone. I asked to be the US importer, and now I'm the North American distributor, and I built it from an unknown brand to, at one point, we had something like 12 Miyajima products in stereophile Class A rated section. And then I became very good friends with Frank Schroeder. I import Schroeder arms. So a whole bunch of different EJ Jordan for a while, Rogers, all kinds of different things. And then when I retired in the middle of 2019, after 42 years working in finance, I built a demo room on my property, and I became a dealer for, of course, Rogue Audio, Klipsch Heritage, VPI. I'm good friends with Matt and Harry, and I love their products. Great
VPI is
people,
great turntables.
great people,
Love their
great
stuff.
product.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a bunch of other things. I now sell Ever Solo, which I really like. I think it's a great product. A few products have come and gone. But so now I have a kind of a hybrid model. I sell generally direct. I have a few dealers that are friends that I trust who appreciate the things I sell. I'm approached all the time. Oh, can I carry Miyajima mono cartridges? And I look at the dealer's website and he's carrying 27 different brands of cartridge. Why? Why would I do that? So a couple of people that, as I said, they have a couple of lines and they believe in Miyajima too, and I let them carry it. And recently I've gone into a few more bespoke products. I import a tone arm from Thailand. I imported another phono cartridge from Siberia called the Tsar. That will be at the show at the weekend, the Bird of Prey tone arm and the Tsar phono cartridge using a VPI direct drive turntable. Matt and Harry let me, or Matt really, it's his company, lets me build bespoke VPI turntables.
Okay.
I believe he allows Gary Coe at Genesis to do it, but Gary's tables are in the hundreds of thousands, mine's are in the tens of thousands. And I love it. I mean, for a while I was dealing with Technics, but I think the VPI direct drive platform is the best that's out there, and it's affordable, it's American made, and it's incredible. So yeah, it's very much a hybrid business model I have, but it works, and I have a bunch of customers that I make bespoke turntables for, one of a kind turntables. And I curate systems anywhere from I can curate an audio system for someone from $2,000 up to maximum 100,000. I think over that you're just paying through the nose. That's my view on audio.
I feel much the same about it. You know, I gotten to experience a lot of really nice high end systems that were, you know, the Lamborghinis and Ferraris of the audio world. And I come home to my Cambridge Audio and my Clips Heritage Heresy speakers, and I still
Great
enjoy my
speaker.
listening experience. So,
I agree. Do you have three Heresy threes or fours?
I actually have vintage ones.
Oh,
They're actually
nice.
vintage.
Okay.
So
Okay, good. Yeah.
yeah, I've had
I
the.
agree
Oh,
with
go
you.
ahead.
I see. I don't understand how you pay $300,000 for an amplifier or a Ferrari. It just the disconnect to me just makes no sense. And I really believe that perceived value is changing as baby boomers like me are aging. I think young people getting into hi-fi, the chi-fi that we all made fun of, the Chinese brands, are now starting to get really good. I think they're very
Yes.
good value. And I think audio is going to shoot itself in the foot because I think as young people experience good sound at a reasonable price, even when they have far more disposable income, I believe they're going to listen to the expensive, $100,000 amp against something that may cost $10,000 and go, well, yeah, it's better, but it's not $90,000 better. And so I think there's going to be a big change in the next decade in audio.
Yeah, there's definitely been a bit of a shift. You know, I actually own some Chi-Fi products as well, and you know, they're for the money. You know, you can get some really quality sound out of those things. But have I heard better sounding stuff at times? Yes, I have. But
Yes.
I mean, it's you know, cost per value and functionality, and you know, I feel much the same that like things have been shifting. Plus, I mean, younger people, you know, don't we, you know, some of us don't have that disposable income yet. I mean, I have some of it
Right.
obviously behind, but you know, I mean, it's the younger crowd is starting my at least in my local, you know, my local scene here. I see the record stores full of like college age kids, high school age kids thumbing through vinyl, and it excites me because that means that the hobby's still alive, it's still going. And what are they going to be buying? You know, they're buying probably Audio Technica turntables or maybe Techniques that's more reachable at the moment. But eventually they might want to upgrade to something more like a VPI or, you know,
Right. Right.
something
Right.
eventually. But
Exactly. I
just,
agree. And now obviously there's that layer of audiophile that wants older stuff, vintage stuff, and people believe that if it's vintage, it's better, which isn't the case. Um, Something I've taught myself over my many years of being an audiophile is I'm an audio agnostic. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in any one particular technology. Horns are not better than electrostatics. Um, I think idler drives are better than direct drive or belt drive. Having said that, I've heard a couple of phenomenal belt drives, like top of the line TW acoustic. I own a Verdier direct belt drive. I think the VPI direct drive's wonderful. I've learned that if I listen and it sounds better, then to me it's just better. I've
I
also
feel the
learned
same way.
I learned
Yeah, because
that
I good.
designers, there's no one. It's like tubes, the holy grail of tubes. There's a rabbit hole, and people have spent a fortune for an RCA 845. Well, I owned a condo on Gaku for a while, and that used 211 tubes. And I went out of my way to find the United Dimple Top 211s, the holy grail of 211s, cost an absolute fortune. And the GEs that Kondo recommended in his amp were better. The designer knew. Um, so
I have the same
uh,
experience with the guitar amplifier I had. The
there you go.
designer was like, use these particular tubes, don't use anything else. I tried something different and it wasn't as good. It definitely
Right.
wasn't as good.
That's right. And and a thing I've also learned recently, too many audiophiles think they're smarter than the designers. And I'll use another sort of car analogy. Um, if you buy a Ferrari and you don't like the way it handles, you don't then put a Porsche gearbox in it. Sell the Ferrari and you buy a Porsche, or you buy a Lamborghini or a Bugatti, whatever you can, if that's price point, I guess you can afford what you want. Um, but so many people will buy a um, a Garrard 301 turntable, then change the bearing, change the idler, put a brace plate on it, all these things, and they're all, oh, it's so much better. Well, no, yeah, but go back and compare it to your 301 or someone's 301 that's not been touched. And the things that drew you to that original sound, that that sound that made you go, wow, you've ruined it. You've changed it. Maybe some things are better, but you've lost the intent and design of the original designer that drew you to it in the first place.
That's
Um,
why I haven't modified my Eclipse Heresies. It's
There you
because
go.
of that,
Ex- Exactly. It'd
And
be like
I
taking one of
think
those beautiful guitars behind you and putting someone else's pickup on it. You just
well, I did do that with this one, but the
Fender.
guy that made the pickups, he designed them based on vintage Fender pickups, and the dude's just amazing. They're the best pickups I've ever touched. But you know,
So my
with
question
that
to
as
you,
uh
compared to an original Fender with the original pickups, your guitar sounds different, right?
yes, but it sounds better.
It
Well,
sounds better. So
then this one
that was
sounded originally, but
that was successful. But
yes.
it's yeah, that was successful. But a lot of times it's not successful. Something might be better. Maybe your tone's better, but your decay isn't as good, right? People change things and go, oh, that's so much
Well,
better.
the thing about this is kind of reverse of like what we were talking about. So with this is a 57 reissue Stratocaster. The pickups that they put in it were a newer design instead
Ah,
of
there you
more
go.
vintage. And so I went back to a vintage design and vintage
There you go.
wiring with that, and that changed everything. It made it so much better. And
Right.
with speakers, I found we were talking just about that. Speakers, I found they're like all the good flavors of ice cream. Like there's not really a bad flavor; they're just different flavors.
Correct.
I love electrostats. I love horn speakers. Soft dome tweetered speakers. I'm a sucker for an AMT for some reason. I don't have any anymore, and ribbon tweeters I like too, but
Right.
those are they're just all like different flavors, and depending on the
Oh,
music you're listening to, some of them just shine better.
absolutely. My feeling of on the speakers are there three seminal loudspeaker designs, and I know a lot of people are going to go, "Well, what about this? What about that?" But for me, it's the Clipshorn, which was still to this day a stunning speaker, and I think The new one, I actually like the AK6. I think it's phenomenal. I know they have the AK7 now, which can be
Mhm.
DSP, but I love what Roy did with the AK6. So that's one. The quad electrostatic 57, the ESL 57, because it was the first electrostatic loudspeaker, and in my opinion, still the best loudspeaker ever made. That's what I own and listen to. And the Rogers LS35A bookshelf. And then I'd have put an honourable mention to Harry Olsen's RCA LC1A full range coaxial speaker, which not many people have heard, but once you have, you realize every Altec, every Tannoy is just a poor imitation. So
My friend Scotty might come at you for the Tannoy comment. He's a
well,
big
if I
Tannoy fan. I'm just joking.
no, well, I'd love to Scotty to bring his Tannoys or to come and hear the RCAs, because if you haven't heard them, you can't really comment. That's a big thing as well. People say, "Oh, well, this is
Yeah.
better than that. This is better." If people, my customers ask me, "What do you think of this?" I haven't heard it. I don't know. I have no comment.
Yeah, I try
But
to
if I've
never
heard
say
it,
that, like I never try to never say like, oh, this is the best thing. It's like, oh, this is what I prefer. Like I enjoy it, I
yeah,
enjoy this
yeah,
or I enjoy that.
yeah,
It's there are quite a few audiophiles out there saying, no, this is the thing. This is the way.
yeah. I know. It's funny. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I know.
Yeah,
I
well,
just
I think we get a lot of money wrapped up in this gear, and we want to feel like justified for spending the money.
right. Oh, and I have bought many pieces of gear and gone, what was I thinking? And I've sold many pieces of gear and looked back and gone, I wish I'd never done that. You
Yeah,
know, I had a
that,
burning Siegfried Zolt 801110 amp, and one of the best things I've ever heard. And I sold it and I bought the supposedly better 300B version. Hated it. Never liked it. And I've been looking for the 801110 version ever since.
yeah, I've done that with some guitars, so I feel
Yeah.
I feel you. Tell me a
Mm.
little bit about Tektron Italia and their tube amplifiers. I'm really
Well, I
interested
don't
in
I
that.
don't represent them anymore. I'm still good friends with Attilio.
Okay.
Mainly because I didn't carry at the time I was importing Tektron, I was also a dealer and then had the rights to Lamhorn loudspeakers, which is a single driver speaker could use louder drivers or AERs, but basically they were 105 dB backloaded horns. So Tektron was a natural product. And when I met
Mhm.
Attilio, he was originally a parts salesman, and he realized that a lot of expensive parts were hyped, and you know they weren't. And he found um, parts that did just as well for a lot less money, and he started building his own amps. And I guess my claim to fame with Attilio was he made an amplifier that took 45 tubes. He made an amplifier that took 300 Bs. He made an amplifier that took 50 tubes, all different filament voltages. I
Mhm.
persuaded him to make an amp that would take all of them by turning a switch. And it took us a while to source a switch that would handle the ampage, but we did, and we produced it, and it was a great seller. Um, it gave people a chance to play with old RCA 45s, modern or old 300Bs, and always old 50 tubes. And great gear, beautiful looking, beautiful sounding gear.
I've always wanted to add a tube amplifier to my setup. It's still on my radar, especially with my clips. That's one of the reasons why I ended up going with a Cambridge amplifier with those clip speakers, is because of the more British, warmer sound with them. It seemed to pair pretty well.
Yeah, you should try like there's a guy who sells an audio on eBay, a Will Vincent restored Dynaco ST70, or one of his even
Yeah.
cheaper Baldwin organ amps. That would be great on your clips.
Oh, those are awesome. I always see people like I watched there was a guitar player that took an old tube amplifier from one of the organs and was playing through it, and
Yeah.
it sounded nice.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I yeah, there's the amplifiers. There's so many different sounds, and I know what I like. I've listened over many, many years, um, and I've learned to listen differently later in life because I became very good friends with David Chesky, who owns HD Tracks and now
Mhm.
the Audiophile Society. A brilliant man with by far the best ears of any human being I've ever met because
That's
he's a
is that
master
Luca
music.
Chesky's father?
Yes, that. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Because so
Mhm.
David's a composer. He's
Mhm.
plays jazz, piano, classical. I mean, you name a piece of music, David will play it on a piano in any style you want from the top of his head. I mean, he's
Wow.
absolute. He's composed operas and everything, concertos, you name it. He's composed it. He's musically phenomenal, but he's also an audiophile and a rabid audiophile. So I count myself lucky. I get to do some beta testing for him when he's got a new microphone or a new process. He sends me the file and I get to tell him what I think of it. And
Nice.
I've learned to listen differently knowing David. So I now know what my biases are, what I like, as opposed to what's actually closer to reality because of knowing David. And I'm going to say something a lot of people are not going to disagree vehemently with. Modern day digital, if you go to a studio and you listen to the group, the band, the singer, and then a digital recording done while you're there, is way more accurate than the LP version. But we love LPs. We grew up with it. The sound is always pleasing. Um,
Yeah.
and you have manufacturers trying to produce DACs now that produce the analog sound. It's not the accurate sound, it's maybe what people prefer. But if you listen in that studio to the live feed and then coming off of the hard drive or whatever they've recorded the digital files to, it's far more in your face and not as pleasant as the analog reproduction of it.
I agree. Like I've I kind of listened just on how I feel. So I'll listen. I'll stream. I'll listen to vinyl. I'll listen to CD. Maybe a cassette, maybe reel to reel. It just depends on my mood that day. But I have my preferences. I love listening to a really well recorded reel to reel on a nice deck. That's one of my preferred listening experiences. Uh, Vinyl I like a lot, and streaming is great. I mean, it's the quality that we get
Yes,
now
I
is
agree.
absolutely
I
fantastic.
loved NQA. I'm very upset it went away. I loved it. But I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know what the best sound you'll ever have in your house from an audio system? What source?
The best sound I would have in my house from a source.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I know what I'd prefer, but what would be the best? I mean, that's a hard one. I lean more towards probably towards the vinyl in my house, just because of my
Right.
space and also the way it plays with my speakers. But
So the best sound you can have listen to in your house on your stereo system is a good FM radio playing the Metropolitan Opera on a Saturday afternoon in season at 1 o'clock because it's a live feed from the stage of the Metropolitan Opera broadcast over NPR. Tape has 4 points of compression on the curve. LP has 4 points of compression, RIAA, on its reproduction. FM only has two. So by definition, if you listen to the Met Opera on a great FM radio on a Saturday afternoon, it's the best sound you'll ever have in your house.
that's awesome. I'll have to
Yeah.
have to
Yep.
check
And if
into
you're
that.
lucky to have a good radio station like I have out here in PA, WRTI, when they have bands playing live in the studio, small ensembles, and they broadcast it live, it will boggle your mind on a top FM radio.
I mean, I remember a lot of the artists would really wait for that moment to hear their music played over the airwaves, because there's
Yeah.
always like a certain compression that they have on there, a certain way it hits. And
Well, certainly, yeah. I mean, in the middle of the band and pop it's compressed to completely. I mean, there
yeah,
was a famous producer, I think, in the 90s who used to produce on a speakerphone, because then if it sounded good on the speakerphone, it would sound good in your car, in your Nissan when you were driving on the Santa Monica freeway. And that's how he had his sound. But you put it on your stereo and you wonder why it sounded like crap. Um, so yeah, but yeah, FM. And I used to be a patron of the Met, and I would go and have dinner there, and I talked to all these people that had switched over to Sirius Radio, and I was like, here, next Saturday, do me a favor, put it on any FM radio in your house, and then on your Sirius, and let me know what you think. And they would come back and go, I've only got a little FM radio, but it sounds so much better. It's because it's not digitized to MP3 quality to stream it.
yep.
So, all silly things I've learned over my many years.
Well, one more thing I wanted to talk about. I noticed you have a few different types of quad gear on your website as well, and I know that they just recently reissued some amplification.
Yes. So, actually, in my demo room, you could listen to the original 33 and 303, which was Peter
Mhm.
Walker's first solid state endeavor. First of all, Peter Walker for me is the godfather of all audio. He was beyond brilliant. And the Quad 2, which was made to work with the Quad 57 electrostatics, that design, which was a redesign of a Williamson circuit, is the foundation for almost every audio research amp ever made, except for the very latest ones that are coming out now.
Yeah.
They just use bigger power supplies. But he bought out the 33 and 303, and it was an amazing mid-century modern, but ugly at the time, piece compared with everything else. But now everyone wants it. So they just came
Yeah,
out with the new
I think they're
33.
endearing.
Right, 33 and 303. And it's a different sound than the original. Um, it's a more, it's a smoother, more pleasant, easier going sound than the original. The original is more, to me, real and visceral. Um, but I'm assuming that's what they were intending to do with the 33 and 303. It's beautifully made. It's not ridiculously expensive. I think it's like $3,200 for both pieces, and you can monoblock the 303 and go from having, I think it's 60 watts to 65 odd watts to up to, I think it's about 140 by monoblocking them. But I will tell you, the new Quad 3 integrated is a completely different beast. It's phenomenal. It really, it's $1,900. Got a built-in USB DAC, which is excellent with filters. They very wisely went with just a moving magnet phono stage, because the moving coil in the 33 is not impressive. The moving magnet's fine. The new Quad 3, I love it. I love it. I play it every day, actually, on my porch when I'm having breakfast. It's a really good piece. And they just announced, I think, 2 days ago, and I'm very excited to hear them, the new Platina series, which looks like the Quad 34. And they're three pieces. There's an integrated 200 watt Class A B amp. There's
Mhm.
a network streamer DAC, And then I believe next year there's a matching CD player. I don't know if it's just CD or if it's CDSA CD, but there's a matching disc player coming too. And if it's as well built as the new 33303 line, it's going to be magnificent.
I've always been interested. My friend Jeremy picked up some vintage quad gear, and I loved the look of it, and I was like, I really want to check it out. So sometime I got to put my ears on some quad stuff for sure.
So,
Seth,
for me, Quad 2 tube, Peter Walker's tube gear, still to this day, some of the best tube amps you'll hear. A little full, rich, not overly detailed, but always musical. Then you have the 33 and 303, and then you went on to the 44, the 34, the FM4 tuner, and the 306 amplifier. And those were the last things Peter Walker touched. So in my living room here, I have a 34, 306 FM4 setup that I use every evening to listen to music to, and I absolutely love it.
In the chat, Seth David Lubin said, Met Opera is compressed on WQXR. A forte cuts down and the piano gets louder. WQXR used to use Dolby B signal. Now, since the 80s, the WQRX sounds poor. That was his opinion. I guess he was giving
it
his
used to be
opinion on it.
full range on QXR until they went up the dial to 105.9. When they were down at 96.3, it was full range. I listened to Met Opera on WRTI, and David Day supplies WRTI with all their equipment in West Berlin. It's full range. It's stunning.
There you go, Seth. There's your answer.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. So you were telling me about your favorite quad speakers. Tell me a little more about those.
Okay, the Quad 57 is my choice of the two quad speakers. Peter Walker designed the Quad 57, which has a central, you can't call it a tweeter, but it has a central panel that reproduces the higher frequencies, and then two panels either side that produce the mid and the bass. With the 63, which he designed it first in 1963, but didn't come out till 80 or 81. I think it was 81. It's a point source speakers. It's not dual concentric. It's a concentric circles. So the sound emanates from the middle and moves out over the panel. It's a very, very, I think, evenly split band of people that prefer the 63s to the 57s, or the people that prefer the 57s to the 63s. I luckily own both. A restored pair of 57s or restored pair of 63s by my friend and partner Kent McCullum at Electrostatic Solutions in Kansas City, Missouri, are stunning. It'd be like taking another car analogy, your Jag E-Type to the shop and doing a full chassis off restore. They come back as good, if not better, than the originals, because they were hand built rather than coming off a production line. Kent also uses 2 micron mylar for the panels on the 57. The originals was 6 micron for that tweeter panel or high range, high level panel, and 16 micron for the base panels. When you use 2 micron, and Kent is the only guy in the world that can use 2 micron because it's so fragile to handle, you get a 3 dB increase in efficiency. So they sound exactly the same, but they play way louder with way more dynamics, as I've demonstrate when I do audio shows. So those were the original two. And then Stan Curtis, when he bought Quad, decided that America and he wanted more. So he added a panel to the top and the bottom of the 63, which was 4 sections. He added 2 more and produced what was termed the 989. The 63 model was the 988. And today you can buy those. They changed them back in 2005, and they put a bracing bar between the back of the top of the panel and the base, and they made the case steel. Substantial increase in weight and structural integrity to an already incredible speaker. Well, with the new ones that are available today, which I will be demonstrating this weekend in at the Hilton in Hasbrouck Heights, the 2812 is the 63 sized 4-panel speaker. Last year at Capital Audio, I demonstrated with the 2912, which was the 6-panel, taller, larger, more dynamic version. I think they're the best quads that have come out the factory. They're beautifully made. They come with a 3-year warranty now. Some past problems they had when they couldn't get the glue formula right have been long since dealt with. They come with a new, much better panels, much better protection circuitry, so they play way louder than the originals. And now I have not heard them. Some people have heard them. They've been released in Europe and in the UK. They have the 2812X and 2912X. Steve Guttenberg has a pair of the 2912Xs for review. That's apparently coming out in November. That uses a UK-made better transformer. They've separated out the audio, the power supply circuitry. They've changed the cosmetics on the speaker. I'm looking forward to hearing it because the 2812 and 2912 are phenomenal. And I'm told these new X versions are even better. Obviously, they're more expensive, but I'm excited to hear them.
Seth in the chat says thank you. He needed, I guess he needed to know the actual call sign for the station. So WRTI. He said thank you.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
Well, so if somebody comes to you and they say, "Hey, I want you to build me a bespoke turntable," what kind of things are they asking for? What are they having you do for them?
Well, that would be well, there's many different ways. I used to make them out of slate, but I can't do that anymore because pencil by a new owner, and he decided he didn't want to do it anymore. So the prices he quoted just made it impossible. So I had to come up with a different system of plinth. When I was using either a direct drive or an idler drive. I don't make belt drive turntables. Thousands of people make belt drive turntables. The world doesn't need another belt drive turntable. So I take two existing technologies and I'll build you a turntable. One would be with a modern VPI direct drive as the heart of the system. And then I can put it in paper stone. I can put it in phenolic. I can put it in multi-layer ply. You can have it left raw, the multi-layer ply, or we can veneer it. However, and I've learned a few wrinkles of how to isolate any motor vibration from the tone arm. And there's 2 versions I offer of it. The other platform I would use would be a Garrard 301 or 401. Everyone loves the look of the 301. The Japanese made them very popular when Americans and English were throwing them away. 301's a beautiful looking turntable. The 401's a much better spinner. Sonically, without question. I own them all. I've owned a Garrard 501, which was Laurie Craft's reinvention of the technology. And that I would put in plywood again, phenolic or paper stone, whatever you want to do. I just finished the new version of the plinth that I designed, which I've called the BF, because it was done at the behest of the musician Ben Folds. And I went to see him on Thursday up at Wilkes-Barre and delivered his personal Garrard 401. It was his table in a plinth that I designed and my master furniture maker produced. And he sent me pictures today and he's thrilled with it. And I've
awesome.
changed the design now, so I have two basic designs. And if you want the second one, it's the BF version, the Ben Folds edition.
My friend's a big Ben Folds fan, and he'd be jealous. So he's been to see him a billion
He's
times.
a lovely man, a wonderful host. My wife and I went. We were backstage. I had the best time, and he's a true audiophile. He's a It's really weird for me because I can't play anything. This guy's a great musician, a wonderful pianist with a great ear, but he's also an audiophile. So for me, it's really exciting to be with people like that because I get a completely different outlook on things I like, but he likes the sound I make. So he ended up buying a load of Rogue gear and he's had me build this turntable and he's thrilled with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been working my turntables. I have a Techniques in my office here that's like a SL2000 that I got from somebody because I went on this journey of buying up vintage gear for a little while, and then I came across this. What I think possibly is a sleeper is it's a Harman Kardon T60 turntable from the 80s, and it's belt drive, but I've never come across anything like it.
Right.
And I had it had everything with it. It was like a complete time capsule, original box, all the paperwork, original receipt.
Oh,
I was just
nice.
like, I was floored. So I got a smoking deal on it and added it to my system, and I've been using it ever since. So
I'll give you a couple of sleepers that some people know about, but not that many people. Kenwood. The Kenwood KD, I think it might be KD, 600 or 650. It was made of a resin stone with a tone arm, not quite as good, but an aluminum tone arm as good as the Technics EPA 500. Definitely not as good as their top of the line titanium tone arm, but a great package. That's a sleeper turntable. You can pick it. Sometimes you see them for like 400, $500, and it's really good touch controls, and it sounds great. Sounds great.
I love finding those kind of things. And then what's funny is like the hi-fi influencers out there, when they find that stuff, they post it up, and then the prices shoot up really good.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I was buying now a big one that people are discovering, Empire 108 cartridges. I must own 3 dozen that I paid $10, $15 for them and bought tons of styluses for them. Now they're 65, 75, $150 for one with a good stylus. It's wild. It's a great cartridge. It's worth $150, but no one knew about it. I give you another great direct drive turntable, the T.H.E TN400. It was the first, wasn't the first turntable to use a magnetic levitating platter. That was made by Stanton, and T.H.E copied it, and they released it in the US, and Stanton sued them, and they had to take it off the market. So they mostly
That
sold
makes
in
them
Europe
rare.
and Japan. But great turntable. And it looks like a 401. It was just a transcription table. It didn't come with an arm. You just bought the table and put it in the plinth of your choice. Yeah. And Technics, you have a Technics turntable. Technics made so many great turntables. I mean, the amount of money at Technics and the Sony and Pioneer, these people poured into R&D in the 70s will never be matched again. Maybe the new Wilson Benesh GMT is in that league, but I don't think anyone else is. Some people may say, oh, Wilson or Magico. I don't think so. No one spent the amount of money that the Japanese did R&Ding back in the 70s.
I mean, even if you go, buy an SL 1200, that's a phenomenal,
Yeah,
turntable, and
absolutely.
it's not untouchable money either. I I just liked, I went for a pretty nostalgic thing, because I was trying to recreate like my dad's stereo that he had when I was a kid, and I started on that journey. And then I started building my own thing. But in doing that, I came across, some interesting turntables that I got to clean up and restore and dial in, and then
Right.
sell them off to other people. And I loved getting to do that.
I will say when you buy older era pieces, you should look at what phono cartridges, what equipment they were paired with when they were
Yeah.
current. Too many audio files, like, so I'll give you an example. The new Technics SP10R, wonderful, great direct drive turntable. I think the VPI is better, but the Technics is beautiful. It's beautifully made. It's a great feat of engineering. But they're selling it with their titanium tone arm from the 70s, and they're adding an additional stub weight you can put on the back to track an Audifon SPU on it. It's
Mhm.
ridiculous. The arm was never made for an SPU. You can't just add a stub weight. It'll work, but it doesn't
Yeah.
work optimally. That arm was made, you need to put a Shaw V15 or a Stanton 881 on it, something, or an Empire V888 on it, but not a low compliance moving coil cartridge. The arm was never designed for that. And people, I think a lot of people make those kind of mistakes, and they waste their money because they don't understand why. And they go, oh, well, the table wasn't that good. No, the table's great. You just mismatched it.
Yeah, I've come across that with styluses and cartridges. I'm trying to find ones that would pair well with, my player. Some of those, cartridges just didn't work well, didn't sound good, and finding the right one
They
that pairs with that tone arm, it makes all the difference.
absolutely. If it's a light aluminum tone arm, you need probably a moving magnet phono cartridge that tracked at a gram and a quarter, maybe a gram and a half. That's what it was designed around.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Well, Robin, I really appreciate you being here with us for the talk. I kind of wanted to wrap things up with you letting us have a glimpse into what you're going to be showing at the New York International Audio Show. Uh, Gosh, we're going to be there in just a matter of days.
yeah, very excited. So I'm showing with Rogue Audio. Bill Megaman and Nick Fitzsimmons will be joining me, and we will be showing with the new Rogue RP9 um, preamplifier, which is their top of the line preamplifier. It's beautiful and it's sonically spectacular. We'll be showing with a Aries Magnum 2 phono stage. I will set it to moving magnet because I will going to put my Robyatt audio step up transformers that I now produce. There'll be a review of that coming out in the December issue of Stereophile by Herb Reichert. That will be in front of it. The
Okay.
turntable will be the VPI in the can direct drive turntable. It's one of their direct drive platforms in a can.
In a
And
can.
I in the can, and I will be using a VPI outboard arm tower with the bird of prey tone arm that I import from Thailand, and the ZAR DST version 1 phono cartridge. The amplifier will be the Rogue Stereo 100 Dark, and we will be using an Ever Solo A6 Master Edition to stream digital do streaming. I'll probably take and then of interest, a world premiere. Basically a world premiere, an audio show. I'm probably going to be importing a headphone called the Omni Hendeka. It's from Malaysia. It's a full range driver, carbon fiber shell. They're very reasonably priced, between 600 and 650, around that level, depending on tariffs. And we're going to be running that and demonstrating that again with another Eversolo driving the Rogue RH5 headphone amplifier. So that's a show special.
Well, I'm really looking forward to getting.
I forgot to mention, and of course, speakers.
Yeah, speakers are important.
Quad 2812s, not the X, the 2812, which is still available. It's a $10,000 pair of Quad 63s that will shock you. The dynamics, the scale, and the weight that they do. This is not your dad's quads.
Well, thank you so much, Robin. I'm really looking forward to getting to get into your room at the New York International Audio Show and put my ears on some gear and get to meet you face to face as well.
Yeah.
And I forgot to look up which room you were going to be in at the show. If you know it, you can look. He's going to be in room 101. You're going to want to check it out. That's Robyatt Audio. I knew I was going to get it wrong at some point, but Robyatt Audio. You can actually check out Robyatt Audio's website. It's robyataudio.com. And also, if you haven't got your tickets yet to the New York International Audio Show, you can go over to theshownow.com and you can purchase your tickets there. If you're on the East Coast, we'd love to see you. All my East Coast friends come out and see us and hang out. I guess I get to perform at this show, which is going to be fun. And I'm looking forward to meeting.
What night are you performing?
I believe a Saturday night. We're going to be doing that.
Perfect. I look forward to seeing that.
And
nothing beats live music.
Live music is the best. Larry Mitchell is going to be performing, and he's a phenomenal guitar player. He's way above my pay grade as a guitar player. Really great. And also, our beloved Emiko will be performing as well. So we're.
I did see that. I'm looking forward to that. Yes.
Well, thank you, Robin. I really appreciate you being here tonight for the talk as part of the Total HiFi experience. Yes, it is a total HiFi experience. There's so much that you can see and do at the New York International Audio Show. It is family oriented, so you can bring the kids, you can bring your spouse. It's all geared towards everyone being included and being able to enjoy all this amazing gear and be a part of this amazing hobby. If you like listening to music in an elevated way, there's no better way to do that than, just experimenting. Buy some gear, put some headphones on. You can listen however you want, whether it be headphones or a higher end system. It's all about enjoying the music. So thank you so much, Robin Wyatt. I appreciate you being here, and we will see you in just a matter of days at the New York International Audio Show.
I'll see you there. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.